Well, we didn't lose in the bye week, so
It's the
we are
first time I've been
here.
happy in a long time.
I I think we even had that one meme where like someone was just like, in the bye week your team can't hurt you, and they had the full Seahawks gear and they were just like vibing with themselves. So I said, you know what? I felt that.
Yeah.
um, what else? So as it stands, just a big overview. Cardinals are still ahead, Seahawks are still last, and everyone else in between, fluctuating. Obviously, Seahawks came out on bye week. Not much to be said, but we'll say some things in this video and the other videos that are up. So let's just get started with the Cardinals right now. 6-4. They're 6-4. They won four straight, as you can see.
Yeah.
That last game was with the Jets. If everyone saw that Sunday, I think that was a Sunday. That was a Sunday
Dude, they
night.
dominated that game.
Yeah, 31-6, man. They were coming in. That's when their offense came into their own. Personally, the Jets. I think It's not like the Jets' defense is like that bad. I think they're getting out coached and everything. Like Aaron Rodgers is not leading them to the promised land. The Jets are 3-7, by the way, so that's a whole story for the Jets to take care to handle with having Aaron Rodgers on the team.
Yeah.
He's not going to have a Brett Favre type of Jets tenure, I don't think. So, yeah, Kyler Murray, 266 yards and a tutty, with some serviceable running from Trey Benson, 10 for 62 yards, and their leading receiver was James Conner, 5 receptions and 80 yards. So that's something. So good for James Conner for being the multi utilized back. And I don't think there's nothing much besides the fact they almost had 150 yards rushing. So again, they are a big rushing team. Obviously split across the board with between like Kyler and them. So you got anything you want to say about the Cardinals? I don't know if you saw like the highlights for this game or saw part of the game, if you will.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, it was kind of one of those one-sided games. I didn't like Jets never really look threatening. You know what I mean? And you can
Hmm.
just, I mean, usually in this kind of, it's funny because in this kind of a game you would see kind of a dominating time of possession, with how much like the Cardinals were running, but it was pretty even. It's just they could not get a first down to save their life. I mean, they had 17 first downs, but it was just, what for whatever
Hmm.
reason, drives were ending quick, and I think that's what kind of came back to hurt him. Um, and the Cardinals, they're this year they're efficient. They're getting
Hmm.
the job done. If you give them any breathing room, they will take it, and that's why they're sitting on top of the NFC West.
I will also say I forgot to mention this with Kyler Murray. So for you Cardinals fans, but he also had two rushing touchdowns too on top
Yeah,
of everything with 21 yards. But those were kind of like probably the short little like pull and take it to the house. So of course Kyler Murray is that dual threat option for the team. And hey, post I think a year after being fully, I guess, coming back to, or no, 2 years after that ACL tear, I believe. Looking like it usually takes a year. We've said this before on our past videos. It needs more than a season. Like it
but
takes you 2 seasons to get back to close to 100%.
that's the thing though. You said close to, but close is like 80%. But
Yeah.
he's coming back at like 90 to 95. Like it literally looks like he's the same quarterback he was before. He just had a lot of
Yeah.
time to play Call of Duty.
I still remember that with the Cardinals when they were trying to give him like a contract stipulation for like how much you can play. Like, can you imagine that? And that's just at any job. I just want to like take a little side journey real quick. Being told that like you can't play your games as much as you want at home, and it's like, why did this have to come up? Like, again, to this day, I want to know what was going through the minds of the front office with the Cardinals at the time to where they even said, let's add that stipulation on there because, I've been seeing the memes of him playing a lot of Call of Duty. So we should probably put that in there.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I thought the same thing too. Like that's like definitely a head ass thing. But I'm kind of
Like, how do,
wondering
how do you get to that conclusion of like, yeah, let's put a stipulation on how long he can play a
if he
game?
wasn't prepared, in practice, then then that could be the case. Then they,
Yeah, because
but
you,
you
it,
could even if he's not playing video games, he just might not be looking at film or the
you're
plays and
right,
all that. But
because Kyler Murray has to play on the defense too, and he also has to play on special teams. You know what I'm saying? Because like that, it takes more than just him at the offense to win a full game, right?
no,
For
no,
the
I mean,
Cardinals,
yeah,
which
it's
they've
not.
shown here. Now
Yeah,
they're showing in all three this year with
yeah.
most of their games, but
Yeah, but
that
what
was
I
a
mean is
crazy
just like
time.
on the offense, obviously, for what he can do. If he's not being prepared, but then again, the Cliff Kingsbury era was rarely something to write home about. I mean, it is
Yeah.
now for the Commanders, but
I mean, and then Cliff he's doing a good job with the Commanders as an offensive coordinator right now.
yeah,
So there's that. But yeah, 31-6, Arizona Cardinals. Again, a dangerous team in the NFC West. I feel like, they're going to take this further. They're going to take this momentum and carry it further for them to make it into the playoffs. I can see them as a playoff team now, which I know I didn't see them previously before this season. But if I had to do a mid-season review, it's like, wow, surprise, surprise, right? So,
yeah, and they're on bye this week too. So I mean, the NFC West, it's still tight. I mean, a couple of games apart, but you're starting to get a picture of who the real players are and who they're not. Clearly, it's the Cardinals and Niners at the top for a reason,
yes.
right?
Yep, and we got them next on the 24th of November. So that's
Yeah, be sure to tune
that's a
in.
game.
Yeah, tune into the preview. But we can go ahead and go to the Niners game now.
Yep,
They played the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That game ended 23-20. Um,
you had to see it to believe it. Like, can you
yeah,
believe? Because there was three, no, yeah, at least three missed kicks from Jake Moody
which is a
on the
fireable
49ers.
offense for a kicker. I'll say if they had lost this game, that would have been a fireable offense.
Right. That's if he didn't make it that fourth time. Because at that point, like you paying this kicker to do what?
Yeah,
Brock Purdy though. So this again 23-20. Brock Purdy, he had a monster of a game. Compared to Baker Mayfield. So let me just tell you this one. Brock Purdy, 25 for 36, 353 yards, two touchdowns compared to Baker Mayfield, 18 for 29, 116 yards, and a touchdown. Like let me just tell you something. The 49ers, who we're facing next, that pass defense is suffocating, and the Bucks could have won this game though, in my opinion, from what I was watching and stuff. They kept the 49ers in the game for them to have that win, in my opinion. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. They couldn't hold that lead, and Christian McCaffrey was back, but he wasn't that serviceable. The typical rust of not being in there and stuff like that. But he was in there. He was their leading rusher, 13 for 39 yards. Jawan Jennings on the receiving side, 7 for 93. Who got those touchdowns? Yeah, one from Ricky Pearsall. I think hopefully I said his last name right. And George Kittle, 3 for 57 and a touchdown. So George Kittle still being a monster as a tight end. And their defense is their defense.
yeah,
I almost said no sacks, but Nick Bosa got a sack. Malik Collins got a sack, and that is about. Oh wait, yeah, that's about it right there. So their defense is being the defense that they still are without a lot of their key pieces. But yeah, what'd you take, I guess, from this game from them?
uh, it. I think you hit the nail on the head. The passing defense was kind of suffocating. It's kind of coming into its own. I think the Niners lost a cornerback to torn ACL or something like that. I don't know if that. I think that was not this week, but the previous week.
Hmm.
But they're still dominating. I mean, you could tell they were forced to. The Niners were forced to go through the air too with the Tampa Bay defense and what they do to the run. I mean, CMC only had 39 yards on 13 carries, but he also made his presence known with 6 catches for 68 yards and including a long of 30. And so we got them next week, so that's definitely going to be something to look out for. But yeah, Buccaneers kept them in this game close. They had opportunities to separate a little bit, but they ultimately couldn't take advantage, and Niners came through with it.
No, that's pretty much it. I think the only thing left. Oh, so one thing that's pertaining to the 49ers is they actually gave a new deal contract to Diomodor Lenoir. I guess that's how you pronounce his name. I know I probably butchered his first name, but that is one of their corners. They gave him a 5-year, $92 million extension at cornerback. So a lot of people were talking about overpay and stuff, but I mean, hey. So my other thing is for the 49ers. This has to be their season where they need to to go to the Super Bowl because they got to pay Brock Purdy, among other people, and you've seen with the recent or the current quarterback contracts. Brock Purdy's going to ask for some money because he's at least like just like Joe Burrow. Because if Joe Burrow can do it, where it's like I've been to the Super Bowl, but I'm still going to ask you for top dollar. So is Brock Purdy, and as he should. That's going to basically hamper the 49ers and who they can, I guess, pay going forward. They're not going to have a lot of money after they pay Brock Purdy, in my opinion. Even with their upcoming off-season spending coming up, it's just going to mostly be who they can draft. So that's just something to consider because they did put out an extension, so that's something to consider for them postseason. But right now they need to just keep winning.
Yep. 49ers got us next week, so be sure to tune into that one again. Last one up we had this week was the Rams against the Dolphins. That game kind of ended up being a sloppy one, huh?
Yeah, it was a kind of a it was weird because well, Tua's back, well, Ben back.
Dude, there
And
was
they
there on Tua's one pick. He threw
mm,
the pick and then he went to go take down. I think it was Roseboom. I think his name is the
mm,
linebacker or for the Rams, and he
uh-huh.
goes head first, and everybody in the entire
I
stadium
saw that.
you could see them like
Yeah,
because he took
please
a
come
knee
on.
straight to the head. Like, come on, man! Like he's doing his best to like end his own career. I swear.
I know it's really just like at this point you are sliding. You can do some scambers, but slide at every point in time with him. He needs to slide, but that is something to keep watch with Tua going forward. Dolphins are 3-6. Don't know what their season's going to be looking like.
Yeah.
Trying to catch up unless they just go winning straight. But Rams are 4-5. Um,
Thank you for
that
that, my Dolphins. By
loss.
the way.
Yeah, thank you, Dolphins. Thank you, Dolphins fans. Um, the whole point with that one is like, so what we got here 207 no, no, excuse me, 293 yards passing for Stafford. He had 46 attempts, 32 completions, and one interception. So they held him like 200, almost 300 yards passing and no touchdowns, and an interception, if you will. Kyron Williams, their running back, 15 for 62. Puka Nakua, 9 for 98 yards. So, Puka is still being Puka for them. Otherwise, I'm not.
Cooper Cup with 7 for 80. They got their receiving duo back for a full at full basically.
Yeah, that's their top two, and then everyone else can fill in behind them with like Davis Allen, Tyler Johnson, and Demarcus Robinson only got 1 for 23, which is, that's kind of funny. And then Kyron Williams also got 5 for 20, so he's still being a serviceable like all around back.
But Kyron Williams, like
Um,
his thing is that like I think it's kind of been trending downward for these last couple of weeks in terms of his rushing
mhm.
production because he had a pretty quiet game against the Seahawks as well. So that's something to keep an eye on because they were definitely riding him the first 7 weeks, we'll say
Yeah.
6 weeks, including the bye or
Oh yeah.
excluding the bye. So he also had a fumble, and that is something that McVay kind of hones in on.
Hmm.
And so he didn't get the necessary carries, but in the end, I guess it didn't matter. It was pretty sloppy that first half, and it was just kind of going back and forth in terms of turnovers. It went fumble, pick, like nobody wanted to score. It seemed like, but I think the interesting thing too is that Tua did look efficient. 20 for 28, 207, a pick and a
Hmm.
tut. It's not a fantastic stat line, but it got the job done. Um,
Yeah, I mean, sometimes what do they call it? The tire fire offense, where it's like you're less than 200 yards passing, and it's like if you can even barely score and stuff like that. So they're making it work over there, being efficient for Tua and them. One thing I want to talk about with the Rams, not too in depth, but like Tutu Atwell only had one reception for 6 yards, and he was like a really good stand-in receiver when
yeah, but you got so many receivers who you're going to throw to, right? How many?
I would assume they would have had Tutu Atwell out there for slot, but I don't, that's game planning and all that type
Yeah.
of stuff. So that takes into to precedence everything that goes on that field. Their defense looked okay. It wasn't enough though, because they allowed Miami got started with a touchdown in the first quarter, and then they just been scoring in pretty much every quarter. And funny enough, the Rams did not score a single touchdown. I think that's
Hmm.
all field goals. Yep, all field goals. So that's another thing. You got to at least score. Um,
That kicker won somebody their fantasy.
oh, for
It was a Monday
sure. At
night
least,
game.
at least he say I got my job on the Rams.
Yeah. The
um,
Rams got Patriots
mhm,
next week. Who do we think
mhm.
that? I mean, do
Uh,
we think it's
the
going to be?
the Patriots are just trying to find themselves, and they're having their good flashes. But I think the Rams can pick up that win if they know what they're doing with Drake May. If they let the Patriots win, that means like the Patriots kind of are figuring some things out on their end. But yeah, I expect the Rams to win that one.
Okay. Any parting thoughts before we wrap up here?
Obviously Seahawks with the bye week. I'll mention it here. The only thing and it's going to be mentioned in our midseason as well. But the only thing we did of our bye week was let go of Dodson, our other linebacker. But otherwise, we didn't. I don't think we lost against the bye week. But if anything, I hopefully the Seahawks have taken that week off to both offense, defense, and special teams all came together and say, hey, what can we do to fix what we need to fix? Offense needs to stop shooting themselves in the foot because we at least started off pretty good to where it's like, okay, I can see what this air raid offense is going to do until next thing you know, we're having a lot of trouble with passing the ball and a lot of pressure on Geno, the offensive line issues. So hopefully we just, came to terms on all that. Defense find an identity, and hopefully we can get to back to at least middling, like at least being average in the defense, because now we're, again, I think we're like 26 rushing defense right now, and I think we're in the 20s for passing defense as well. Haven't been good, so hopefully Seahawks have, because they're coming out to the 49ers. So I hope the Seahawks, at least have a game plan this upcoming week, which I know they do, but hopefully it works out for them because they will be at 49ers.
Yep, and so be sure to tune into that video. Thanks for joining us here on Miss Reps. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you again next time.
Peace.